financial wellness. Reach out to them for advice at 855-DON-GINO. And now back to your hosts, Don Getling and Gino Fronti.
Well, you're going to be glad you stuck with the Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance Show this Saturday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., because we have the last segment, and it's going to be a powerful last segment with NEAL WEICHEL with Re-Max, #1 real estate agent in all of Santa Clarita. I know I said a lot, but I'm just adding the credibility that this guy works hard, and he informs our community. He's actually one of the most sought-after speakers in all our community because he is informed, and that's why we love having you on the show, Neil.
Thank you.
And we love that you have an opinion, you have passion, and you educate and inform. Heaven forbid you don't just sell.
Well, I certainly, hopefully I do all of that. I mean, selling is an important part of being a real estate broker for sure. But I think the key right now, we talked a little bit earlier, and let's dive right into it about how the internet has changed real estate, right?
Yep.
And we've been talking about this for a long time. If you remember when the internet first came along, there was a lot of quote-unquote old-time real estate agents that really resisted. I don't know if you remember this, but they did not want to have their listings on the internet because they felt that they would lose control. And of course, that's exactly what happened. We no longer have control of our listings. They're not ours. They are truly the public domain. They're out there on hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of different websites. So what happened was back in the day, the agents that really worked with buyers a lot really all of a sudden found that their control over the real estate process changed completely. And anybody who ever called themselves a buyer agent knows that. That job title doesn't exist anymore because the buyers come to the listing agents to find out about the listings. They think they'll have a better chance of getting the property. They want to deal directly with the listing agent, etc. We still have many, many good roles for people helping people buy homes as buyer agents. It's just usually working with a listing agent, not standalone. Okay, so we know that. That happened 10, 12 years ago. Well, here's what's happened just in the last few years. Just like the buyers took control of the buying process years ago, now the sellers are taking control of the selling process, and they're doing it in a way and at a level that I've never seen before. And what that means is, I think, is that the agents that list a lot of property are going to have to be better, more transparent, and just provide a level of service that's higher than they ever have, which is a good thing. But it's going to really make it difficult for a lot of the agents out there that don't have the best of habits in terms of how they list property, whether it's how they make sure it's listed properly price-wise, marketed well in terms of photography and internet marketing, et cetera. And the seller is going online and saying, hey, what's the public saying about NEAL WEICHEL? What's the public saying about this agent? What do the reviews look like? What's the track record? How many homes have they sold? What do the clients say? That was never available a few years ago. Well, now it's all over the internet. And if you're not there as a listing agent, your information isn't readily available, the public will choose somebody who does. I still get plenty of past clients that call and say, hey, you helped us 10 years ago. We want to work with you again, which is a blessing and it's terrific. I still get plenty of people that say, oh, Neil, I got your name from my friend at work, or they said you were really good, and that's good. But the level that exists today is lower than it's ever been. And the reason why is because the public, the selling public, wants control of the process. They want to choose. They may have heard from their neighbor that Neil's a pretty good agent, but they want to go and then really check me out before they invite me out to their home. And that means that the public really does have control of both the buying and the listing process at a level that is never been before seen.
Let me jump on one quick thing there, because what's super important to realize about that is that not everybody has the online presence, right? And so to have an online presence is more important than ever. I remember maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago, it was the only reason you needed a website was for people to know you existed, just to validate, right? You got a referral, hey, Neil's a great agent, okay, and then they went and validated. It's not like that anymore. It's no longer just validation. It's like you said, they're reading every review to see verbatim what each client says.
Yes, and not just that, but they're also, and this is, I believe, a good thing, at least it is for me, they're getting more educated about what their competition is. It's rare that a seller and I won't agree on what the obvious price is, because I've sent them all the information, and many times they've seen it before. Many times they've gone through all the pictures on the competing homes. So everybody's more educated. Now, what does that mean? It means that you've got to be better than ever at doing loans. And it means I've got to be better than ever at selling and at listing, marketing, and selling property. It means I've got to do more follow-up on the showing so I can give my sellers feedback. It means I've got to be adding value at every step of the game. And if you don't, you'll be out of the real estate business. It's that simple.
I think you hit the nail on the head there, and thank you for just jumping on before I even had to tee it up, is the fact that because of the reviews, and we acknowledge it in our office, trust us, because we used to get surveys. And a little survey that goes to corporate and says, yeah, you know, it could be
Johnny
Jade
did a
or
good
wine
job,
or
yeah.
whatever. Johnny did a good job. That doesn't do us any good anymore. It really doesn't. It gives us some feedback, but really we need reviews. And to get good reviews, you do have to have such a high level at all times, because you don't want the negative review either. So you've got to be really transparent with all of your clients that you work with that you want to do a great job. You're held accountable.
Yeah, for sure. Let's kind of wrap this in terms of where we think 2017 is going. The best homes are definitely selling quickly. Homes that are overpriced aren't. We're going to have another year of tight inventory. There's no question about it. There's not enough new construction to really grease the wheel out here. Okay.
Right.
And so what does that mean? It means that the agents that know about homes before they hit the market will have the buyers, because the buyers want to know about the homes before they hit the market. Okay. Guess what I tell the buyer prospect that calls me and says, why should I work with you? I said, well, there's a number of things I do. I network with all the top agents in town. We talk every day. But the biggest thing, quite honestly, is I'll let you know about stuff before it hits the market. Oh, that's for me. That's what I want. Okay, right. Neil, we'll give you a shot. All right. In addition to that, if I know about stuff before it hits the market, I can properly position the pricing of the listings I have. Uh-oh, this home's going to come up and compete against my new listing over on Magnolia. I better make sure the seller knows about it. Maybe it's time to make an adjustment in price. Maybe we need to talk about, you know, some marketing things that'll create some more traffic. So the point I'm making is that in a tight inventory market, the agent that's actually out, you know, out in the field every day, talking, working, backdoor deals. We've had more off-market transactions in the last 2 years than I've ever seen in 24 years previous. Okay? Why is that? Because we're out there putting deals together when these homes aren't even listed. Because that's what the sellers want and that's what the buyers want. Make it easy for me. Get me the price I'm looking for. Make it easy for the buyer. Tell them about. So this kind of information, this kind of intel, okay, this kind of extra service is going to distinguish the top agents from the agents that are just okay. There's many fine agents in our valley, but those that are willing to go to that level, honestly, they're few and far between. If you're willing to do that, you're gonna really do well. I expect this year to be a terrific year. We're already off to a good start. You know, the initial numbers, our California had a really strong January. The move-up buyer or the move-down buyer, the client who needs to sell and buy simultaneously, they have to be handled with more care than ever. You cannot tell a seller who's selling one home and buying another that if they go into that next home contingent that they'll have the same chance as somebody who's non-contingent. And if it's a good home, guess what? They'll be up against somebody who's non-contingent. Educate them. Tell them the truth. Tell them what they need to know. Tell them to be willing to do a double move. And I
remember you bringing that up last year. I'm sure a lot of people were successful going that route.
If you're not willing to tell people what they need to know, then they're going to be severely disappointed when they get in the middle of the transaction with you and it turns out not the way they hoped. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
you guys
setting expectations, 100%. One of the things I want to make sure that you heard out there was about all the off-market transactions. Guess what? Those are nowhere to be found on the internet.
Yeah. Well, it's just, again, it goes back to some of the things that we've talked about. I mean, the internet has changed our business because the buying public and the selling public has the right to control what they think is important to them, and that's great. But if you think for 1 second that you out there online know as much as an agent who's out in the street every day talking to other agents and getting, it's impossible. You'd have to, it's a full-time job, truly. Right. So, yeah, there are off-market transactions. There is information that nobody knows out there. And unfortunately, in some cases with the internet, there's information out there that's erroneous. It's not even accurate information.
Right.
So
we see it a lot.
Yeah, of course. So helping you separate, you know, reality from fantasy. That's what there will always be a role for a great agent and a great lender, because the public will always seek out excellence. They will always seek out information that they can count on, service they can count on, reliability. They'll always seek that out. It's just going to get tougher and tougher if you're not willing to be excellent. And that's the bottom line.
All right. Well, that tees up the close. We unfortunately have to leave. We can sit here all day with Neil, but Neil's a busy man. Thank you for such great information as always, Neil. And if you want an agent that is excellent and has an excellent team behind them, how do they reach out to you, Neil?
So I'm at Re-Max of Valencia. I have been since the building opened over there on the old road, 661-284-5080. And, of course, my email is neal@nealweichel.com. And I just think we're going to have a great year. There's going to be terrific opportunity out there. It's still a marvelous time to buy a home. I'm buying real estate personally. I think, you know, California is it's funny how our, you know, I've seen many different cycles in this market, and right now we're on a good one. Everybody really wants to live in the Golden State, even though it is very expensive. They're figuring out how to make it work through your help with loans and my help with finding the right property.
All right. Well, thank you again for being such an integral part of our show and great information again. You can find out more by going to donandgino.com. Of course, we'll have these great interviews with Neal on our website in just a few days, and you have a great weekend. Thank you for being with us every Saturday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. And
be bold. Take action.
Thank you.